Welcome to the Chaotic Stupid Show. This is episode number 2. My name is Derek and this is Avantris Adventures. I make maps, write adventures, and do all kinds of things TTRPG related. I am here with my co-host, Arthur.
Hello everyone, it's nice to be here again. And yeah, I basically do the same things as my brother, but in isometric perspective, including texts.
Right, well, while we were planning this second episode of the Chaotic Stupid Show, we were dumbfounded to get this announcement for the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time remake. Now, this is TTRPG related, but we're all nerds, and if you are around our age, you grew up playing that game in the Nintendo 64. I mean, I've been expecting this game since forever. We got a kind of like a remaster in the Nintendo DS, but I've always been saying, I mean, Nintendo, you're missing out if you don't like remake this, at least re-release it. So what's your take, Arthur, with this remake? What are your expectations or fears or anything you have?
This is considered to be the best video game of all time. It was released in 1998, 28 years ago. That's almost my age. Well, I'm 35. But I was just a child when I started to play this game in the Nintendo 64, and it blew my mind. It was so good. I could not believe that we had that video game. I have on Patreon, we have the 6 temples and links already and adults, and you can download them all if you want them. And like I was saying, this is a game that marked our childhoods and many others. It's just legendary. And I'm very happy to see the game remade. I just hope they do it justice.
It's an understatement to say how much this game influenced our childhoods, our lives, how we make dungeons now that we do D&D stuff. Well, almost a decade now.
I just hope they do justice to the soundtrack. I hope they don't change it, and I hope that specifically the Ocarina songs that you play to summon Epona, to open to travel to the different temples and stuff, I hope they don't change those melodies, because if they do, I think they're gonna just basically kill an essential part of the game and lore that we all know and are accustomed to.
I would imagine they own the songs, so there might not be like a licensing issue, but you're right, if they do change some of those key melodies, that's gonna be crazy. Another thing I've been considering, like something that could go super wrong with this remake, is if they give it the Final Fantasy Reborn treatment and they release it in like not in a single game, but let's say they release it as just the child part, and then later on they release like a sequel.
I mean, this is Nintendo we're talking about, so I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, imagine, like, why wouldn't they? And we know that people are basically committing to purchasing the Nintendo Switch 2 just because of this game. And I think we're in the same boat. We might actually buy that stupid console just because of this game.
We probably
and
will.
It's because they're hitting the nail. We are going to probably end up spending money and opening the wallet and maxing our credit cards to make it happen.
Let me make a promise. If they don't release it in a single game, it's probably going to be super expensive. It's okay. I'll pay for it. I'll buy the console. But if they release it in installments, like Ocarina of Time 1, then 2, and then 3 or whatever, I'm not buying anything. I'm going to emulate it. I'll do everything in my hands to not give them a dime and emulate it.
Yeah,
that's my
I
promise.
agree on that.
Let's go on to our second topic, which is our current Dungeons and Dragons game, Dungeons and Dragons in quotations, because this is a Shadowdark RPG game. In the latest game, I tried to do something. I was thinking about how it is when characters want to explore a dungeon that's so vast that's impossible to explore it in a single day. Think of the Mines of Moria in The Lord of the Rings, the Infinite Tower in Aincrad, that's in Sword Art Online and anime, or also the gigantic dungeon in the popular anime series Dungeon Meshi or Delicious in Dungeon, depending on the translation. These dungeons are so large that the important areas are very remote from each other. Like you could be walking for hours along empty hallways and empty rooms from one important area to the next. Now, when you want to do this, it's not feasible to make a map. So we came up with a depth crawling, right? I got this idea first from this book, Neverland, by Andrew Kolb. This is a 5e compatible book based in Peter Pan. I'll stop here and let Arthur tell you how it felt exploring the dungeon in Shadowdark RPG from the character's perspective.
It was pretty fun. When we got into the dungeon, we were warned, a little metagaming there, but Derek, the dungeon master, he said, okay, we're gonna do this like this. So every time you travel to another area, the distance that you have to travel to get to that place is going to be from 10 minutes to 60 minutes. So like 5 or 6 areas into the dungeon, going back to the entrance because we need to rest or get a breather, that was not going to be a possibility. We were forced, in a good way, to rest within the dungeon, so that presented new obstacles to beat. For example, get to a new area, take care of the monsters or obstacles there, and then secure the location so we could rest. And I think it was very fun. I think it was something that we had not done before. 3 of the people playing with us are new players, and I think they had a great time. And traversing a dungeon like this is a refreshing way of doing things, because we were forced to map the location area by area and take into account the places that we had already visited. And we did not know how long this dungeon was going to be, because when you're traversing a classical dungeon, let's call it, it comes to a point where players can actually infer what's next, or what could be in the next room, or whenever the boss is going to be.
I mean, it's just metagaming. Like if someone's mapping on a sheet of paper, like they can almost see how the page is filling up, and make a call that the dungeon is not that large. Like if you see published dungeons, this includes our work. Like how big are they? Usually it's between 5 and 15 areas at most. It's not like I didn't do it like that for this, but instead of a map on an illustration, you have a list of numbered areas. But it could be a very long list or a small one. There's no limit. That, what we did in our Shadowdark session 2 sessions ago, that was just the prototype. So I started to think how to make this into a procedure that we can publish. And this is what we just did. And this is published and available on our Patreon page. We're leaving a link down here in the description. And it's this you see on the screen: depth crawling with style. It has some intro and some lore about how time passes when you move from one area to the next. How resting works, how resources, how important it is that resources are important. And then there's this page that says how it works when you want to move deeper, when you want to move back, and what happens actually when you finish and you want to exit the dungeon. Exiting the dungeon when you finish is easy, but when you are in the middle of it, if you want to go back to a previously explored area, sometimes it's not that easy. Depending on the roll that you make, you could get lost and end up in a completely different area, or you could just get like a random encounter in between. It gets difficult. And then in the last page, we also included this example list of numbered areas. This is it's described as a dungeon where the goal is to find a dragon's lair and steal a magical goblet. It's just an example with 15 areas, which is like a medium-sized dungeon, but you can actually expand it even more.
And just to conclude about our Shadowdark RPG recapitulation, now that we hit level 3, we can actually see the big difference that the fighter class has from Shadowdark RPG to other TTRPGs. The fighter in Shadowdark actually knows how to fight. It outshines the other classes in melee combat like crazy. If you want to test a system where the fighter is actually the guy in the group that knows how to fight, Shadowdark is the system that you need to try. Okay, next is we want to talk about a little bit about the new Dungeons and Dragons book, Ravenloft the Horrors Within. We are a little late to the party, to be honest, but let's recap some of the things that have sparked conversation from this new release. First, we have the cover art. I must say that I'm kind of impressed that the cover art made such a puzzle in the social media and X communities in particular, because it's freaking good. It's an incredible illustration. You see Strat, yeah, it's fucking good. I mean, you see Strat holding a cup of blood, or let's say wine, but it's blood. We know that he's a vampire, and you have these guys on the floor, and the colors and the vibe of the illustration is amazing for me. I really don't know why people made such a big deal of it and compared it with the old art of the book. I don't know. I think both illustrations are good. And since the book is so old, the original one is like from 25 years ago, I don't understand why people made such a fuss about it.
I think that the gist of it is that it's very trendy to hate on Wizards of the Coast these days, mostly because they are the big ones and they own the Dungeons and Dragons brand. And it's kind of trendy to hate on all the big corporations like X and Tesla and OpenAI. It's trendy. I mean, it's just fair game to criticize them. And it's not like I love Wizards of the Coast. There's some things I didn't like, but this book, I thought the cover was, I thought it was great. Does it hit the vibes of Ravenloft? I think it does. But you know what doesn't? The new set of Tarot cards. This is the set of Tarot-like cards that comes with the game. There was an original set of Tarot cards that was released for the original Curse of Strahd campaign setting in 2016. I own them. I mean, I have them right here. I can show you some of the very amazing art that was released in this. Very obscure, OSR style, very black noir. I thought, like, I've owned these cards since then. I always thought they were amazing. Now, the new cards, they have a different art style. I would say this, the art is amazing, the colors are great, but I think they do not fit the Ravenloft vibe. The colors are very bright, pastel, and I think they remind me of the Mexican celebration of the Day of the Dead, which actually kind of has that art direction of very bright colors. Maybe this is an association that I make or we make because we're Mexicans. What do you think, Arthur?
I agree with you completely. I think those pink, bright hues are completely related to Day of the Dead. And we started this conversation about the cover's illustration and how it made a fuss in social media. I think the Tarot cards art of the new set are actually, they have a lot of more fuel for conversation, in my opinion. I think people should have made more fuss about the difference in art direction they took for these cards. And like you said, they are very good. I like them. And perhaps because I'm Mexican and I love to celebrate the Day of the Dead, those cards are very nice. I like them. But I agree with you. I don't know if they actually connect, because let's forget the original Tarot cards. Let's take into consideration the cover of the book, The Horrors Within, and combine it with those Tarot cards they released now. Are they compatible? I don't think so. And I don't know if that was the right direction.
Yeah, I wouldn't know. That said, maybe this is an association that we're making, but the average, like, who's gonna buy this on average? English-speaking people, let's say Americans, Europeans, and maybe they do not make that connection. So it's difficult to say.
They don't have to make the connection of the Day of the Dead. They just have to look at the cover of the book and then the Tarot cards and say, these look like things from two different products.
Yes, I see what you mean. Yeah. Yeah, I guess that.
And talking about that, let's talk about another of the things that sparked conversation regarding this release is the price. We were talking about Nintendo. Well, I'm sorry to say that Wizards of the Coast is the Nintendo of TTRPGs, because they have, for D&D Beyond, they have the Ultimate Bundle for this product, and it costs $150 or $159 for the digital version of the book, the PDF, and the Tarot cards, and the GM screen, and whatnot. But I don't think I mean, the product is good, but many people have pointed out that it's kind of a predatory strategy to do it like this, because it is this book is basically a copy of Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft, is it? So people have pointed out that Wizards of the Coast they are not being completely transparent, and it has probably 15% of it as new content. The rest is a reprint of something we already had. So I don't think this justifies its price. It's too much.
Yeah, like I'm just looking at the page right now. It says here 150. I was just thinking, it says it includes the physical and digital versions of the book. Also included is the Tarot set in the website. It has 54 fully illustrated cards. I think that has a lot of value as a collectible. I don't like how it fits with the theme, but I might actually purchase it because I like how they look, even if I don't use them for Ravenloft. And it also says you get a physical and digital version of the Ravenloft Horrors Within map pack for plotting out the encounters. So I think you actually get some printed maps, though it doesn't say how many. Maybe it is the 28 maps that's mentioned above that you get for the VTT. I think
it's not clear.
It's not clear, but maybe if I expand what I'm reading, you get it. Now, is this worth $150?
I don't think so.
I'm not sure.
Okay, guys, next I wanted to share with you and Derek, because he doesn't know them, Legends of Avantris. I guess I don't even know if I'm saying that name correctly, but they have a YouTube channel. They're very famous, and they have been uploading videos to TikTok, and it popped up to me one time, and I've been watching their content because they are so funny. I think that all TTRPG sessions, and we all have moments like this, that when we just burst in laughter at stupid things and everything that happens within a session, and I just wanted to share this with you and with Derek in case you don't know it.
All right, let's watch it.
Do you like working for the Count, the Master?
The Master?
Yeah. I mean, like 10 years is a long time to get a single weekend off.
I live, I serve.
So if you die, you don't, sir.
If I die, the Master wouldn't permit me to die. I don't think.
It's like, I'm pretty sure I'm too important.
That's my favorite moment.
I think I'm too important.
I'm taking it. I'm putting the chips on that one right now. I'm going all in.
All right, so these people are playing like the Critical Role crew, right?
Yeah, they're like Critical Role, but considerably smaller. No criticism, but I don't think they're as big as Critical Role.
I hadn't heard of them, yeah. But it sounds pretty funny. But I think you mentioned, you mentioned it to me off stream, that they actually do animated versions of this. How does that work?
Yeah, I think they're hiring these artists, and the cartoons they are putting on the videos are just kind of like exaggerated and perfect copies of their mannerisms. And what really strikes me is they are using the very same audio. They haven't changed that, and they just add the cartoons on top of that. And it's so funny. It's so funny. I think the result is amazing. And let's watch it. Let's watch it. Let the video, let the video do the talking.
Do you like working for the Count, the Master?
The Master?
Yeah. I mean, like 10 years is a long time to get a single weekend off.
I live, I serve.
What?
If you die, you don't, sir.
If I die, the Master wouldn't permit me to die. I don't think.
It's like, I'm pretty
That's my
sure I'm
favorite
too
moment.
important.
That's my favorite moment.
I think I'm too important.
I'm taking it. I'm putting the chips on that one right now.
And as you can see, they're using the same audio, and they just put the cartoons on top of that. It's so good. They blend so well.
Why was he twerking?
Well, it's part of his serving. And they're becoming a kind of staple in this TTRPG atmosphere. I've seen people commenting on on other videos that are not this one, this clip in particular. They are commenting with a GIF of the rat, twerking. They type, "I live, I serve," and I just like it. Yeah, I really like how they portray these characters. I really don't know if these guys, just like Critical Role, have some actor background, or if they are voice actors. Maybe they are, because they are very, very good. I mean, we don't roleplay like that at our table, but we do have moments like that where everybody laughs.
Yeah, we're not that good. Well, you got any more of these?
There's only one more, and this is interesting because they have a Patreon page in case you want to check them out. And this is about a comment that one of their patrons sent for them to read. And they animated this interaction as well.
Okay, let's see.
I'm going to answer a
sorry, I
patron
have a couple
question. Kevin asks, has anyone realized Derek dresses like a 40-year-old preschooler?
Derek?
VIP that man right now! VIP that motherfucker right now!
That took a lot of courage to read. I'm gonna be honest.
I would have deleted that comment.
I don't know if I could have read that if it was me.
I love it. I'm very happy. I read this and I was like,
That was
everyone's
very-
gonna f***ing die.
Wait, so it was Derek who read it?
Yeah, Derek read that. I mean, he's a giga chat for reading that out loud and sharing it with the group.
Wow.
Derek is in the other video. He's just with his hand covering his face laughing. And the guy that says, VIP that man right now is Mikey. I think he's the guy that does the rat voice.
Wow. Oh, that was crazy. I just gotta say, I do not dress like 40-year-old year school. What did he say? 40-year-old preschooler?
Yeah.
What?
And I mean, they're very popular. I really like their content. If you want to check them out, their name is Legends of Avantris. And what they're doing here, I think it's gold. It's very good.
Yeah, I think so. That was really funny.
And one more for the fans of Daredevil, the series, and the actress Deborah Ann Wall. If you didn't know, she loves D&D. She's been with the guys at Critical Role doing some stuff, and she plays herself, and she has some cool advices for GMs and players. Let's watch one of the clips.
There are so many ways to be a great D&D player. The main advice I give, and what I try to live by, is follow the thread. If your DM sets up a beautiful tea, knock it, follow that thread wherever it leads. That is where they have prepared wonders for you, and you can trust your DM.
I'm gonna say something crazy, but yeah, you're right. I mean, you have some elements in the game that you can follow. For example, peasants have hit points. Usually they have 1 to 3 at most. Why would they have hit points if it were not meant for the characters to test, you would say, test those hit points? How far can we stretch the 2 hit points that the blacksmith has? Does this ring a bell?
I think what you mean is when players just want to see the world burn. Cast Fireball in the tavern and see what happens. And I think this is basically what she's talking about. As a player, it may be fun and comical to do something like that, but in the end, I have always thought that the game master is just another player at the same table playing the same game, and sometimes they take hours to prepare for a session, and when players, they just derail everything that he has prepared. That's part of the game, and improvising is a skill that all game masters should have. But I agree with what she says. I think the experience is going to be improved for everyone at the table if they just kind of just go along with what's going on, and they, let's say, please the GM when he sets up a situation, and they just go with it.
Yes, I see what you mean. You actually touch a very important point. We have to remember that this is part of the meta contract, meta information at the table. The GM is also a player, and he spent some time trying to decide what this session is going to be about. Yes, there's room for improvisation. You can maybe step out a little, but if as a player you take it upon yourself to disregard what the GM prepared, you're just making everyone's work more difficult. It's it's also fun to see what the GM was trying to do.
Yeah, and there is a very thin line between being railroaded and being dragged by your hand. Contrasted to, I want to do this because it makes sense. A lot of the times, the master, the dungeon master, is setting a situation up because it makes sense for the party to continue on that road. So my advice for game masters and players is to have different options. Let's say in our campaign, at some point in the town where we're gathering and getting jobs, we have option A, B, C, D, and E, and then we make a call and we decide what of the 5 options seems like the best path of action. But I believe that Derek, the game master, has already prepared stuff for those 5 options. And we can, of course, we can always go for a 6th one and start to derail the campaign, and that's where the improvisation comes. But in my opinion, everyone's experience is always benefited and improved when the group is actually working as a group, game master included.
I agree. Couldn't say it better.
And last but not least, breaking news. Dungeons & Dragons, Hasbro, and Wizards of the Coast are done. They're dying.
Bankrupt.
Bankruptcy, disaster, complete mayhem and apocalypse going on at the
Wait.
TTRPG
Didn't
company.
this happen last year? Also, like 2 years ago, and also like 4 years ago?
Yes, that is exactly the topic of this conversation. Dungeons & Dragons has died every 2 years for the last 20 years, and it never does. It never does. People have been making videos and content about Hasbro hitting bankruptcy or D&D Beyond getting to the end of the line, and it never happens. What I want to say here is Dungeons & Dragons will always be Dungeons & Dragons. First, they have the best name, Dungeons & Dragons. There's nothing will beat that. And every time you see Dungeons & Dragons in a movie or series on TV, the game they're playing is Dungeons & Dragons. It happened in Stranger Things, in Community, in the new TED series, and even Dexter's Laboratory many years ago. They played Dungeons & Dragons. Whenever we meet to play with my friends, we say, so are we playing D&D tomorrow? And we're playing Shadowdark. But that's how we communicated because it makes sense. We're sitting down and we're gonna play D&D, but we play a different system.
Yes, I think it was Professor DM here on YouTube in an oldish video, or maybe he has repeated it, that whenever you get to play a fantasy medieval game where you sit at the table and each has a character and you go into dungeons, beat monsters, get the loot and level up, you're playing D&D. It doesn't matter if the book cover says Pathfinder or Morkborg or Old School Essentials, you're just playing D&D.
Yep. And the numbers don't lie. The people that play Dungeons & Dragons are millions and millions of people. Millions of people know that game worldwide. And the next top 10, we have Pathfinder, Call of Cthulhu, Warhammer, Cyberpunk Dread, Vampire, Shadowrun, Starfinder, Alien RPG, Blades in the Dark, and whatnot. And those are incredible games as well. But all of them were born thanks to Dungeons & Dragons. So I don't think we are anywhere close to the end of D&D as we know it. Videos of them and their dramas and criticism, they're not going to end because they're just a company that thinks to make more and more money. If people actually wanted to boycott what they do, they would stop purchasing what they make. But it's the same as Nintendo. Nintendo squeezes their clients over and over, year after year, creating the same, like, let's make a new Mario game, and it's going to sell anyways. So what happens with Dungeons & Dragons is, and D&D Beyond, we just mentioned the prize that Ravenloft, the Horrors Within, they're just smacking that prize on that product, and people are going to buy it anyways. They put that price on it because they know it's going to sell. People purchase the stuff, people will support what the company does, and even if they say they don't support it, they spend money on it, and they continue paying their subscription at D&D Beyond. So I don't think Dungeons & Dragons is nearly close to being over or dead at all.
Contrary to what many YouTubers would say. And that is not to say that we would defend the business practices of Wizards of the Coast. I think it's worth it to criticize and protest against. Like, for example, many things I have thought that D&D Beyond's pricing is atrocious. I'm not buying that. I'm voting with my wallet. But going from that to say D&D has died, as many YouTubers, and this is probably going to be, we're probably going to do a thumbnail for this video with D&D's logo getting like disintegrated, like with a Thanos snap or something, because that's trendy. Maybe we'll get some views. I don't know. Other YouTubers are doing it, so might as well do it.
Yeah, that's the trend right now. People are saying that Dungeons & Dragons is going to die, so that sparks interests in viewers. But, however, I have to say that we are living in the best era for TTRPGs, because we not only have a plethora of options to play. If you want to play D&D, play D&D. But if you're like, no, I don't want to play Dungeons and Dragons again, I don't support that company and their predatory strategies, I don't like them, whatever, just pick another game. There's like dozens and dozens of different systems. And we're living in the best era of TTRPGs right now because people like Matt Colville, MCDM, they created Drawsteel. And Kelsey Dion, she just created Shadowdark like 4, maybe 3 years ago. And that is the system that we are playing at home. So my point is, this is the best time for third-party creators.
We got it
and this
all.
is the best era. Exactly, we got it all. And 20 years ago, to do what Kelsey Dion did and fund her project, her view, her dream, that was just impossible. It was just something you could not do 20 years ago. And now it's a possibility for third-party creators to do something like that and become one of the big guys, one of the systems that is being played worldwide and becoming popular. And I'm very happy for that. But from that, to say that Dungeons and Dragons is dead, nah,
Yeah, that's bollocks.
not gonna happen. That's bollocks, that's correct.
Alrighty.
So any closing thoughts, Derek, to finish this video?
Well, I'm really eager to get to our 6th session or 5th, can't remember which. I think it's the 6th
7th.
session or maybe 7th of Shadowdark RPG, aka Dungeons and Dragons. We're gonna play the day after tomorrow. The characters have just leveled up to level 3. And all this opens a lot of possibilities for new types of encounters, more danger. I'm really eager for that.
Me too. I want to see what we can do with the party that we have and continue giving you the small recaps that we do in these kind of videos. I'm really happy for that.
Alrighty, well, this is our 2nd episode of the Chaotic Stupid Show. My name is Derek and this is my co-host Arthur. See you in the next one.
Bye-bye.